Eli, earlier today, Wags put out a great story on Alex and the relationship he has with his grandfather. Just curious to know some of the people maybe behind the scenes of your life who've really propelled you to have the success you've had here at Navy back home.
Yeah, so obviously I think, kind of looking at direct family, my mom and my dad, both just very supportive and, my football journey, and they 100% have a big reason as to why I'm here. But two people that I also kind of look to, so there's my grandfather. He's my dad's dad. He served in the Navy as an officer. And then my uncle, who kind of had a big role as to why I committed here. Someone that I looked up to, and someone that was always super involved in my sports. So those two are kind of two people that I feel like I've looked to, in my family.
Back to your play. I mean, have you come back down to earth yet? What were the 24 hours like, especially on Sunday after not just the game, but the reaction between you and your dad blew up. How did you process all that in the 24 hours following?
Yeah, it was cool. Definitely a bunch of different emotions. Mainly just a ton of excitement, a lot of praise from my family and my friends. It was really cool to get a lot of kind messages from prior coaches or people back home. Just a lot of support, and there's definitely some heartfelt stuff in there too with my dad. It was a special moment um, for my family. Something funny. So a lot of my dad, a lot of his friends were there. His fraternity brothers from college were at the game with their families, and they were all kind of in the end zone with him. And a few of them were actually like crying after that happened. Like they were there for that moment. Funny enough, my dad was totally fine, but like it was like his buddies that were like tearing up, which was pretty funny. Um, so.
And the fact that it was Blake who tipped off the CBS broadcast that was your dad up in the end zone. What does that mean to you that you got teammates to look out for you, not just on the field, but kind of your story outside of the game?
I think it really speaks up to the brotherhood that we have. Just guys looking out for each other, and kind of the love that we share. It does check out though that Blake recognized that he actually like spotted my dad on the big screen, I believe, and knew like that it was the hat that he always wears. That's like I think the way that he was able to tell. Like I just like such a sharp guy, he's able to pick that up. But yeah, it just I think really speaks about the brotherhood that we really talk about a lot here as a program.
Thanks, Eli.
Yep.
We have Joe Montana pointing out John Candy in the Super Bowl, and now we have Blake Horvath pointing out your dad during the Navy Air Force game. Scott Wyckoff.
Eli, I know you guys live in a want to know world week to week, but I've talked to a couple of your classmates and teammates about really looking forward to going back to Philadelphia, kind of getting even for what happened a couple of years ago. Is that a little an additional motivating factor for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. That field is played there twice. My first Army Navy game freshman year obviously did not go the way that we wanted to, and then playing Temple my sophomore year, so 2 years ago, again we did not win that game. So I think going up to that stadium and it being the third time around playing there it'd be nice to come out with a win. Absolutely.
How cool is it playing at Navy and getting the opportunity to play in these NFL stadiums?
It's definitely a really neat experience. It's funny to a lot of the times like telling people that I've played in I think maybe either four or five different NFL stadiums now. It's a really unique kind of opportunity that we have that not a lot of other schools get to experience. So it's definitely cool to like kind of imagine all the people and NFL players that have played there before you.
A couple of your coaches have really spoken to the fact that this Temple team they believe is the most complete team that you guys are going to face so far this season. What have you seen on film from their defense?
I think a big thing with them is their physicality. I think that that they have their saying. I believe it's Temple tough, and they like to kind of bring to the table a lot of things that we like to on defense, and that physicality piece. So I think that's something that we have to go up there and match. And then obviously they have a ton of athletes. I think they're a really athletic team, and something that'll certainly present a challenge to us.
Thanks.
Let's go to John DiCarlo from Owl Scoop up in Philadelphia.
Hey Eli, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Just kind of following up on that question about I guess it's hard to read the minds of your opponent, but how do you think Temple's approaching you guys with what you guys have put on film on, with the passing game, the numbers that you guys put up, and it's not like you guys were throwing the ball because you were down 3 touchdowns. You guys are incorporating this into what you do. How do you expect them to approach you guys this week, where it's you guys have obviously put a lot more on tape in terms of throwing the ball and doing it successfully?
I think after last week, they might take us a little more seriously in the passing game than I think other teams, maybe would. I think we might get a little overlooked there, and a lot of people are worried about our run game and the things that we present there. I think that's probably the biggest challenge that we give to teams. I think we're one of the leading rushing units in the country, at least before last week. So,
Still number one. Still number one.
Okay, good to know. But so I think after last week's game, the focus might be kind of making sure that they're covering everything, both run and pass. And then two, I think a big thing about our offense is we give a lot of different looks out of a lot of different sets. We're moving around a lot, motioning to different formations, and I think that can be tough on a defense. So just making sure that they're squared away on all the different kind of moving around that we're doing.
You guys have a volunteer assistant coach down there, and Colin Thompson, who played at
Mhm.
Temple before he went on to the NFL. What have your interactions been like with Colin? What's he contributed to the program down there? He basically lives right across the street from the stadium. What have you learned from him, and what's this week like? Do you guys have fun with this, with him just kind of being on both sides of this?
Yeah, he's been awesome. He kind of like I'm not really sure when he started, but like one day it feels like he kind of just appeared out of nowhere, and he's had a really awesome presence within our program, and he just brings a ton of knowledge of the game to the table. Like he played tight end in the NFL and then for Temple, but like he knows. I think tight end is kind of an interesting position in that sense that you're getting blocking and pass catching, and you're kind of doing a lot of everything. So I feel like he has a ton of knowledge that he's kind of given to us and has been able to pass on to us from all his years playing football. So he's been a help with me, and it's fun kind of chit chatting with him about his NFL days and like teammates he's played with and different experiences that he's had. He's a really interesting person to talk to, and obviously a fantastic coach that brings a lot to our program.
Just one last one from me is obviously it's a different Temple staff, personnel changes, maybe not as much for you guys, but with the portal, what looks different about Temple on film now? I mean, I know you guys are like a week to week existence, but they'd struggled for the last few seasons. They're 3-2 now. Does anything look different when you look at them defensively as opposed to years past?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really do think it's that I already talked about it earlier, but that physicality piece. I think they play a really tough brand of football, and that's something that they pride themselves on, and you can certainly see it on film. And then I think that they're playing pretty confident right now. They're playing good football, and when a team's playing confident, has a little bit of kind of swag about themselves, I think that's when they're playing their best football. So that's something too. You'll pick up a little bit on film as well.
Well, thanks, Eli. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Wags.
I wanted to ask about the viral moment as well. I'm curious, why was your dad in the end zone? I would have thought he would had better seats than that. B, why? How did you know he was in the end zone? And C, how exactly did Blake tip off CBS Sports? I don't think he did that during the game.
So yeah, my dad. Funny thing about him is he has a really hard time sitting down during the games. He's really antsy and likes to kind of pace a little bit and walk around. He just gets a little nervous. So I think him kind of moving around. He was with his buddies, like I said earlier. I think they were just kind of walking around. And I don't know if you need tickets or whatnot to kind of stand along that fence or that kind of border in the end zone, but I knew that him and his friends were over there because earlier in the game, they were actually yelling out to me, and they were saying some things over from like that area, corner of the end zone. So I knew they were in that kind of general vicinity from earlier in the game. It was the drive that we were coming out. I think we were kind of trapped in a little bit, pretty close to the end zone. And then Blake, I think he actually tipped off the sideline reporter for CBS. I believe that's how he did it. I think he did it either during or right after the game. I'm not really sure when, but I think that's kind of how he got that initial word to them.
Yeah, Blake told Tiffany Blackman after the touchdown
Mhm.
pass, you jumped in the stands. As he was coming off the field, he stopped by Tiffany and said, "That's Eli's dad." He just jumped into the. So it was immediately after the touchdown pass. And yes, that's how Blake is.
And Strauss, did CBS Sports show a replay and say that during the game?
Yes. Yeah. Tiffany did not say, she didn't want to get Blake in trouble, so she didn't say Blake. But Blake told me that he told her.
Okay.
But yeah, they showed it in the stands and said that's she just said I got a sideline tip from somebody
Right.
that was Eli's dad. And then Blake texted me on Saturday night saying, or Saturday or Sunday saying that was me.
So who was the little kid?
I think that was just a random kid. Yeah, the guy on the other side. That wasn't anyone I know personally.
Oh, that's like the kid was doing a lot of hugging too.
Yeah, no, I didn't know him.
That's standing room only down there, and you don't. So it could be anybody. Wags.
Right. And so how does it feel to have all these records and be approaching many more?
It's an honor. Some definitely, humbling to be up there with some greats, guys that have gone on to, play in the NFL. It's pretty cool to be, kind of in the talks with some of those other guys. It's definitely an honor.
I'm good.
Yeah. Blake said he thought it was a cool moment. He wanted to make sure the TV audience knew that was Eli's dad. So he immediately made a beeline to Tiffany and told her.
It's cool.
Very cool. Gary Lambrick.
Eli, good to speak with you again.
You as well.
By the way, was that one of the random kid you were talking about that knocked your dad's glasses loose, or what? There was like a fracas going on there at the very end?
Yeah, his hat was all messed up and like twisted. His glasses were about to fall off. He looked like a mess for a second. I think it might have been. I think my helmet was kind of bumping it around. I'm not really too sure what happened.
Oh, it was you. Okay.
I think it might have been. Yeah.
I guess it's trivia now. It's like 9 years old. It pops into my head about Temple. Scott can certainly correct me on all errors, but right, wasn't it the game before you faced Army in 16 where you ran into a really physical Temple team that left, I don't know how many walking wounded.
That was the AAC championship game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got like 7 guys hurt that game.
Yeah.
It cost us the Army Navy game. It really ended the streak. Was that
it really did. Before it ended,
yes.
It ended. Yeah.
Temple entered the streak more than Army did.
Right. But anyway, Eli, I'm writing a piece on Brandon Chapman, and just want to get some of your memories, some of your thoughts on this young man. Go back to plebe year when you're all pretty anonymous, and he emerges as the JV MVP, of course, voted on by teammates like you, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So talk about just the overall impression that this, light, kind of short, scat back kind of guy that comes into the program, how you guys took such a shine to him over those few months.
Yeah, so initially it was I feel like, the first kind of few months you come together as a class, your freshman class is it's a little interesting, right? Because you have most of the guys went to naps, so all the napsters come in and they all know each other really well. And I was part of the like 12 or 15 or so direct guys that came in. I didn't go to naps, and Brandon went to naps. So I feel like a lot of the napsters and directs don't really click at the start, because the naps
Hmm.
they kind of hang out with their naps friends, and you kind of hang out with your direct friends, and over time you start to merge. It just takes a few months and you all get to know each other. But at the start, I feel like we weren't super close friends just because of that, like the naps direct kind of divide. But as time went on, he's a guy that I've gotten to spend a lot of time with, and he really is one of my favorite people to be around. He kind of brings this like infectious like energy to the locker room and to our position room. He is like, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, like one of the funniest guys to be around. I'm always cracking up when I'm around him. And I think a lot of his play kind of speaks for itself. Like he is an extremely um, talented football player, both with the ball in his hands and route running and catching passes. But I think that the greatest thing about him is his like selflessness, right? He's 170 pounds, some of that nature, like 5'8", not a big guy at all,
Right.
but the way that he goes and blocks a 230-pound linebacker is incredible. Like it really is. He just goes in and like throws his body at him, and it's really when people talk about playing kind of bigger than you are, he is a guy that fully embodies that.
Yeah. Blake was saying, kind of parroting what you just said, but also saying, now let's not get the impression that this guy's like blowing people up all the time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's got a great sense of angles,
Mm-hmm.
knowing where the ball carrier is near him, and just, like most blocks, just getting in the way, making him kind of go around him a little bit. And all of a sudden, Blake's by, or whoever's got the ball is passed. Maybe it's you sometimes. Has he thrown those kind of blocks for you?
Yeah,
Where he
absolutely.
just gets in the way.
Absolutely. I agree with that. It's not always like sweeping a guy off his feet, but
Right.
kind of getting in the way, and he might get tossed as a result of that. A bigger dude kind of might push him over, but that never affects him or causes him to shy away. He will kind of throw himself in that manner in any given block, and it's I think that's a good way to describe it. A lot of times, just getting in the way, but that's all you need is that split second to kind of react off of him.
Right. Well, back to the JV award. Was that not close? Was it a, do you guys even know what the vote is? There's a lot of up and coming fine prospects like yourself and Alex in that group. Why him?
That's a good question. I'm not really um I'm not sure if the vote was close or not, but maybe something that went into it too was um he played scout team his freshman year like most people do, and I did not have the chance to go over and play scout team. I was like with the varsity, but not really, playing at that time. But I would just hear from the defense and in the locker room, like the horror stories of him terrorizing like our starting varsity defense. Like he would be over there every day, just like putting up numbers, making crazy plays. And I think maybe that could be a big reason as to why he was voted that.
Well, between Alex, you, him, at the snipe position, which is so expanded now with Drew, everybody's got their keys they go to, right? Is he the shiftiest? Is he the best at just changing direction on a dime in your little world called snipes?
I'd say so. He's a water bug. I think that's a good way to put it. The way that he's able to just like stop completely on a dime and go like 90 degrees in the opposite direction at any given second. It's definitely impressive, the way that he's able to change directions.
So, what's a
You got
specific
three,
way?
Gary. We got to go to the next. We got three.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're
I
all
thought I
right.
was last.
No, no, no. You're good. We go around again though.
I
So,
got you. I got you.
Wyatt Kopelman.
Hi, Eli. So, in your role as a snipe, with what you've seen out of Brandon, but also everybody else around you in this offense. Do you feel like the way defenses have tried to disrupt this Navy offense says a lot about how versatile Coach Cronick's offense has become so far?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the times, and going. I think the biggest time when you see it is watching the film after. I think a lot of the times their main focus is stopping the snipes, and I think the big way that you'll see that is bringing different types of edge pressure and then flying the safeties down on some of our motions and trying to cut off different angles for us. It's definitely something that you see as a priority for defenses is trying to limit the damage that we're able to do as snipes.
Going into this week, how do you and the rest of the offense block out the environment when you're playing at the link and make sure you execute the same way as you would expect to at any other place?
I think a big thing is kind of bringing our own energy. It's a big stadium and it's hard to fill up like what is it 70,000 um, seats in that house. So it sometimes feels a little bit I don't know empty. But I think a big thing is just kind of bringing our own energy this week and making sure that we're not coming out flat or anything like that.
And Coach Newberry on Monday called Temple the most complete team Navy's faced this point. I know you talked a little bit about what stands out to you about facing Temple, but from a player's perspective, what do you think this matchup will show you about how well your team prepares and responds to a challenge like that?
Yeah, it's gonna be a test, and all three sides of the game. Um, I haven't really looked at their offense too much, but as far as their defense, they're a really complete team from their D line to their backers to their secondary. Like there is no kind of like glaring hole that you would look at their team and be like, that's an area that we need to attack. So I think the biggest thing that I would love to see out of our team. This week is just kind of executing all phases of our game. I think we're able to really pass and run, and some weeks we really just rely heavily on one thing. I think being able to do both things this week against a really talented Temple team would, I think that would be awesome for our offense. So,
Thank you, Eli.
yep, thank you.
67,594 is the capacity of the link. It is Temple's homecoming, and it's also the 250th celebration of the Navy going on in Philadelphia this weekend. So expecting some Navy fans to be there as well. We'll do 2 questions each this time around. Scott Wyckoff.
Yeah, Eli, what do you like best about when you guys are on the road on road trips? What do you like best about road trips?
I think it gives us more time to hang out with each other, our teammates. I think that's a great time for kind of just like bonding and palling around with each other. I think that's something that I've a lot of great memories from just hanging out with my teammates on road trips.
And how's the food on the road? Anything different than you get at school?
Yeah, it's definitely better than the food we get at school. They definitely do. Our team emphasizes trying to make sure that we're fed real well and trying to maintain the same food that we'll eat at home games. So definitely something I look forward to.
Thanks.
Tim Nolan.
Eli, what has your first class learned in years past that's maybe helping you avoid the consummate trap game or letdown game?
I think a lot of the times with when you're coming off a big win is that you get too high and you start to like forget about all the things that have led up to that point. And I think just kind of keeping like a steady state and maintaining that like smooth line. You're not dipping up and down too high or low, just kind of maintaining that even after big wins.
Then I'm gonna ask you the same thing I asked Shane. What's your cheesesteak order?
I'm definitely not the most experienced cheesesteak guy. I feel like I just get some sort of cheese on it. I know there's like they do like the whiz. I think I like peppers on it and onions. Is that popular? I think that's something I'll do too. I'm not really too sure.
I love
He's
it.
a Pittsburgh guy. They put French fries on their sandwiches.
There we go.
Primanti brothers.
Heck yeah.
John Carlo.
Hey, just speaking of that, I don't know if this is a stretch here, but like with you being a Mount Lebanon guy, did you ever play against a guy like Dante Pollard when he was at Penn Hills? Or I know you might not have overlapped with Tyree Alualu. I think he's too young. He's a North Allegheny guy, or even a guy like Anthony Chickett. Any Pittsburgh guys on this roster that you knew from that tradition-rich area out there?
Yeah, so Dante Pollard, I grew up playing 7-on-7 with. We played Evolve 7-on-7 was the program in Pittsburgh. A lot of talent comes out of that program. But he's a guy I've known for a long time. I haven't texted him yet. I got to reach out to him, and hopefully we'll get like a picture after the game. It's gonna be cool. I never had the chance to play him in high school because whatever our schedules never worked out, but definitely looking forward to catching up with him. And then Alu I did play against in high school. I believe he was a freshman or a sophomore at the time, but he was a really good player for them for even how young he was when I played him. So I'm looking forward to playing those guys. Chickett, I know the name. I've never really run into him before or talked to, but definitely aware of him and what he's done. So looking forward to that.
One last one from me. What changes schematically for you guys as effective as you've been throwing the ball? Opposing defenses, like guys I covered over the years, like Hassan Reddick, Muhammad Wilkerson, even the guy like recently with the Commanders, Jordan McGee. Temple plays Navy, and they're like, well, I can't really rush the quarterback. If I do, it's bad news for us, and our whole game changes. With you guys dropping back a little bit more, what changes with like pass protection, just stuff like that, when teams know that that might be more of what you guys are doing now, and defensive ends might say, hey, I might actually get a shot to rush the passer this week, and not just because we're up 2 scores, it's because this is what Navy does. What changes for you guys schematically? I know you can't give away the playbook, but what changes when you guys are really incorporating it that way?
So I think it's the interesting thing about a lot of our passes, and you'll see it on film, is how they're kind of play action and really initially looking like a run play. I think that's something that might challenge some traditional edge rushers when they're at their best, when they know it's a one-on-one matchup against the tackle on a quarterback who's just dropping back. Like I think make it challenging for them to be at their best when edge rushing. So I'm not sure if I quite answered your question, but I think it for us, just really trying to set up those pass plays with the run. I think that's the best thing for us.
Cool. Thanks, Eli.
Sure, thank you.
Wags.
So I'm curious, did you end up going out to dinner with your dad and family after that? Were you able to kind of relive the moment with them in person after the game?
Yeah, I definitely caught up with them. I went. They always throw a nice tailgate. Me and Alex's family and a bunch of the other guys. All of our families kind of combine before the game and throw a big tailgate with anyone that wants to come visit. So I went after and hung out with them at the tailgate, and then we went back to they were staying at a little Airbnb and spent a lot of time with them there. I actually had like probably 30 family members in town for that, so I was able to spend time with everyone. It was really great.
So where did the rest of your family sit? I know you said your dad was wandering around and ended up down there in that end zone area. Where's the rest of your family usually seated for the game?
They're typically in the section where all the other families sit. Like we get them the tickets through football, and I believe it's that lower left-hand side. I think down like the left side of our bench on like the 10 or 20-yard line.
So I think in the first game, Alex was telling us you did the celebration that some soccer player does. You've also done the, do you have some choreographed celebrations, and what does Coach Newberry think of this stuff?
Yeah, I'm definitely not one to do I feel like anything super crazy like a backflip, in Alex's case.
He said he's not allowed to do that until the Army.
Yeah, he definitely got a word or two for that one. But yeah, I feel like I don't really plan anything. It just kind of happens naturally. I don't like doing anything super like flamboyant or anything. But I think there's one guy Hoke Smith, he's like a guy that likes trying to think of like different celebrations, and Coach Newberry doesn't really want us to do anything, so we usually don't end up. But it's always fun to think about like some of the stuff that like we could do.
All right, thanks, Eli.
Yep, thank you.
We got about 3 minutes left. Gary, you're up. And then Gary, when this is done, call me because chat's in my office and you can just talk to him in my office. Or did Gary leave? Oh, looks like Gary left. I'll call Gary. Wyatt, we got 3 minutes.
Hey, Eli, just kind of going beyond the X's and O's, what excites you most about this quarterback matchup, pardon me, given how well Simon's done in that Temple offense, and then, of course, everything Blake's doing right now?
Yeah, it's always fun to watch two quarterbacks go head to head. I think we got that a little bit last week with two talented guys. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what Blake can do this week. He's always I feel like he always finds a way to impress me each week. It's funny.
And did you grow up watching the Steelers or the Eagles more, given that you're from the PA area?
Always a big Steelers guy. Always born and raised.
Why Steelers?
I'm like 15 minutes from like downtown Pittsburgh, so that's if you're an Eagles fan in Pittsburgh, people definitely look at you a bit funny. So,
do you have a lot of respect for what Narduzzi's done so long for that defense with the Panthers, by the way?
Yeah, I think he's always done a great job with that program, and that defense seems to usually be their strong suit. So, absolutely.
All right, good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Eli. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back at 2:30 with Coach Cronic.
Thank you.